Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lightworkers Secret to Success. My name is Adam Shiskowski, and I am here today to talk about what do you do when you're around 3D people? How do you handle yourself? What do you say? What do you don't say? Do you tell them? Do you not tell them the things you know? Are they going to think you're crazy? Are they going to think you're nuts, a conspiracy theorist? I mean, I think all of these things at one time or another have gone through our heads. And, for me, it's, at first I was just plowing through it and I was just telling anyone and everyone and I didn't care. And then I started getting some pushback. And now I'm a lot more selective on who I'm telling. So that's just kind of what I did. Colette, I know you've got to leave shortly. So what's your experience? What have you done? What have you said? What have you not said? How do you handle it? What do you do? What do you not do? I know there's lots of questions in there, and I know you're a lady with lots of answers.
Thanks, Adam. So yeah, I'm Colette Gallagher, in case you're new to our channel. Excited that you're here. So yeah, let's see. So I am surrounded by all kinds of people all day, and because I work in a school. And so to me, I don't have any judgment of anybody. If people want to get their vaccine and they're super excited about it, I'm like, yeah, go no judgment. Or whatever it is. Like I just, I view myself as a witness, as someone who's observing reality. And I'm still human, so I do have some judgments, but in general, that's the easiest thing for me to do. And I ask questions. So that's how I determine, kind of what level someone's at, is by asking questions. And so I don't go into deeper questioning if when they answer the more superficial questions, and they're just very stuck in their ways, because 3D people are very stuck in their ways. They're very like, this is right, this is wrong, this is the way it has to be. Believe science, believe the government, like whatever, which I'm not saying like don't, but you have to, like, it has to be from inside of you and not just because someone told you, because it's not like everything's wrong, right? Just like not everything's right, which is why it's so important to have that discernment of what is right and what is wrong for you. And you can tell, if you've been practicing long enough, how it feels in your body. So if you haven't been using your body as a guide, it might be a little rusty. And so it's really important to practice using your body and getting used to what feels really exciting in your body versus what doesn't. Because a lot of people in the 3D have shut off their body completely. There's a lot of trauma in the 3D world. So it's not that there's anything wrong with even that. Like, it's okay if there's been a lot of trauma and things happen in your life. But to raise your vibration, to move on to the next level, you have to be able to take in more energy. And so part of being able to take in more energy is to really pay attention to your body and use that as your internal compass and your guide. And so basically that's one of the tools that I use to be around 3D people, is I pay attention to energy. Like, how do I feel around somebody? And again, like, I love everybody in in general. And so even if their energy is a little off, I still send them love. I still send them good vibrations. So that's another tool that I use to be in the 3D world, is I just use my energy and my vibration and channel it out and just send out good vibes, so that those who are willing to receive it. And again, I'm not pushing my energy on anyone. I don't go out and try to heal someone. If people are willing to receive it, that's when I will do it, especially like my clients, of course. That's why it's important for people to pay me, because then I know they're willing to receive what they're asking. It's just a tool. So hopefully those are some good tips and tricks. And I know the rest of my team will have some amazing ideas. So
Cool. Rebecca, why don't you go next and let us know what do you do when you're around 3D people?
Well, like Colette, I try to witness more and observe rather than getting sucked into the lower emotions, which a lot of people who strictly live in the three-dimensional world and rely on their five senses for all of their information are tending to be a little bit more desperate than they used to be because they're fearful. But I am very aware, because of all the trainings I've given to people, that we can remotely influence people. And so I try to stay conscious of staying above the fray, above the fear, above the negative emotions, and trying to offer an alternative, a higher comment or vibration when I'm with people, and just letting them know by my being that I'm not fearful, I'm not depressed, I'm not freaked out. And I may not have to say anything. Like today, I inadvertently was still wearing masks here in Massachusetts, and I walked into a hardware store to get something, and I completely forgot my mask. And then I looked, and everybody in there had a mask on. And then I thought to myself, this is a good example for them to see that someone can walk around a store fearlessly without a mask on, you know. So I kind of liked that I did that. And nobody said anything to me negative. So, but I also am learning in these times that we're living in, I have to do a lot of protective work and put on my armor of Christ, because you don't know what you're going to run into. You know, I think a lot of people are getting edgy. I don't really have that much to do with the public because there's nowhere to go. There's nothing really to do. That's all that, you know, we don't gather in crowds yet. Or I went to a restaurant over the weekend, and I had to give my phone number to the hostess before I could be seated, which I found intrusive and offensive. But I didn't say anything, because I also said to myself, well, even if I got some creepy phone call, I know how to do my protective work and to neutralize adverse effects, which keeps me centered. I'm always telling myself, I know I'm protected. I know I'm safe because I am in touch with my higher self. And I also feel like we have at least one guardian angel, probably a whole flock of them around us, helping us all the time when we need the help. So I'm not fearful. But I just try to be more of an example to the people that I know are fearful. And if they don't want to converse about anything, that's fine too. Like Colette was saying, it doesn't bother me one way or the other. Whatever their choices are now are up to them. It's like I was doing a video today and I mentioned it. If you are an intuitive person and you have stepped off the matrix, you can expect to have superpowers, premonitions, telepathy, intuition. You can see things that other people can't see, but you're not going to learn that in the mainstream. You have to dig and dig, like we have all done, to find that esoteric information that's out there that the great masters and mystery schools have been teaching forever. But you have to have an appetite for it. So we're all on our own individual journey, and this is certainly a very interesting time to be around here. And all we can do is, I think, be an example and be ready when people need someone to talk to. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was thinking, you know, when you were in the hardware, or no, when you're in the restaurant, why don't you just give a fake phone number?
You know what? You know what I found out? I thought of that after I gave her my cell phone number, and she typed it in, and right away she said, "Oh, are you Rebecca?" So they obviously even make sure you're giving them a phone number that works for you.
Oh,
That was interesting. Talk about tracking. They're
That
tracking.
happened to me. We went to a restaurant and they said, "Oh, would you like to?" But this was optional. So, would you like to give us your phone number so that if anybody comes in here that has, symptoms or that has COVID, we can let you know. I said, "No, thanks," and I just walked off. Like I was like, "Oh, no, thank you." I was like, "I'm not worried about it."
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah.
No, thanks.
Cool. All right, Pamela, tell us, what do you do when you're around 3D people?
The first thing I have to remind myself of is to stay centered and in myself and my vibration where it needs to be, because it can get frustrating when you're surrounded by, so I take care of me first to make sure that my vibration's where it needs to be. But I have conversations. We were out this weekend and the thing about the vaccines came up. And so I just had a conversation and, my biggest thing is just do the research. Don't always take everything that you see on social media or mainstream media as the truth, but do the research, research for yourself. But then I also ended the conversation by saying, but it is your choice. Like everything else, it's your choice, and I respect your right to make the choice. But there's that sense of my heart breaks sometimes because I realize just that can of worms that they're opening up for themselves and the potential of harm. So it just it hurts my heart, but I just have the conversation and just kind of leave it at that. I respect their choice. I'm not saying I don't agree with it. I just said, I respect your choice to do what you see right for you, but it does hurt my heart,
Cool. Yeah, everyone's on their own journey, right? So, whether you want to believe this or not, I think you've made your choice before you were born on the path that you were going to take. And the path now comes down to, this vaccine. I really believe that that's what's going to separate, I think the vaccine for me anyways is an IQ test. This whole COVID-19 is an IQ test. And if you're smart, you can see it. If you're not and you're asleep, then you just don't see it. And that's okay. It's not good or bad, right or wrong. Amanda, tell us a little bit. What do you do when you're around 3D people?
Well, first I remind myself that that I'm not that we're above them, but that we do have a different reality and that we choose to have a different reality. One of the things I do is I just choose to love them where they are. And that doesn't mean I have to love every decision they make, but I have to love and respect that that they're making the right choices that they have in front of them, at that moment. And so, I work with a lot of people, and I just have, in a lot of us in the healthcare field, and I have to, oh, okay, yeah, all right, that's okay, sounds good, kind of thing, because people are so one-minded that way, the people I come in contact with. I just don't really engage in a lot of different conversation unless they're open to it. If I see a window of opportunity to say something or to tell them something, then I use it. But otherwise, a lot of times I'm like, that's their choice, they're choosing this, and so I just keep it going. It's hard to catch me anyway. It's hard to catch me, so I'm like, okay, I'm usually like, pretty fast paced. So anyways, yeah, like I said, I just try to love them where they are right now, because I have to remind myself that I wasn't always where I am right now today. Something triggered something inside of me, something, I was like, oh, and it got me questioning, and it got me thinking, and it was a conversation with somebody, just like, hey, did you know this? Did you know that? I'm like, no, I didn't know that, and it's all about awareness. Like, what are you aware of? So a lot of people just are not aware of the things that we know now, or we're kind of privy to. Not everybody knows that, and they don't even know where to find the information. And I have people all the time asking me questions about, the vaccine, or, if it's good, if it's bad, if it's, whatever. And they'll say, well, and I may share a little bit about certain things, and they say, where do you find that at? Well, it's stuff that I've heard for so long. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to point you in the right direction. I just don't. I don't know. So I feel bad. Someone asked me last night, like, can you send me stuff? I go, I will. If I come across something, I'll send it your way, because right now, I honestly, I don't know where I'd even begin to search that would help somebody like wake up. And then I don't know about you guys, but lately I have, like everybody else here, saying that we've had to like kind of protect ourselves, because I think because we are growing spiritually at such an expedited rate right now, because things are moving really fast. I feel like it gives space for some more like psychic attacks and those kind of things. So I've been just really, the last week, I've been just really feeling worn down, really, really tired. So I've just been trying to take it easy, but I have stuff to do. Like I can't just like sit down and let, the dark side win. I have to keep pushing and keep going. So just like today, Mondays are like kind of like a blah day for me. I'm always like, oh, I love Mondays. Don't get me wrong. I love it. Monday is probably my favorite day of the week because it starts a new week and it's exciting. But by the end, my energy is just a little bit drained because I've used a lot of it at work already. So, so I don't know what else I want to talk about that. But anyways, unconditional love. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I think the Beatles had it right with their hit song "All You Need Is Love," and
I love that song.
yeah, like there's so much meaning and deeper meaning behind that song that I think most people even realize.
Mhm.
For me, when I'm around 3D people, is I just hold firm. I listen to what they have to say. And if they ask me a question, I let them know in a very gentle way and where I stand with it. If they ask why I'm not taking the vaccine, I tell them why on the information that I know, and I try to be gentle with it. I don't even get into everything with it. If they're curious and they keep sort of probing, then I go into much deeper conversation with them. So that's one thing that I do when I'm around 3D people. The next thing that I do is if I've already had a conversation with someone who I know is 3D and the conversation maybe got a little escalated, I just hold even more firm with my roots and saying the more that I doing research on this, the more I'm finding out that not only was I right, or the information that I found out was even more correct than what I originally thought. And I'm listening to science and doctors on what they're actually talking about that are not on the mainstream media. And so for me, that is where I always go to. I was asked the question on the weekend was, are you taking the vaccine? And I said, well, I already have. And I pointed out to the sun. I pointed out to some fresh, clean drinking water. And I said, and I don't wear my mask hardly at all. That's my vaccine. That's all I need. And there's nothing they could say to counter that at all. So I just said, that's my vaccine. If you want to go and get jabbed in the arm with some chemicals, then by all means you can, but I'm certainly not going to do it. To me, this is where common sense actually comes into play. And that was actually a conversation with my parents on the weekend. So, and I love them, but I just really try to be a lighthouse and let them know that, hey, if you are in the darkness and you don't know you're in the darkness. So if you just stop and think about that for a moment, if you're in a dark room and your eyes are closed, do you know if you're in darkness or light? You have no idea. But if there's a lighthouse and someone just shines a light way off into the distance, do you see a different shade of darkness? Yes, and that just might bring them. And so that's all I'm kind of hoping for, is that if there is any lost souls that can be saved before the rapture or the ascension, or the whatever's going to happen. I know it's going to happen soon, but when this does happen, if I'm able to save even one more person, then I'll be happy. And it's like that scene in the Matrix with Neo in the second part when he says, a kid says, "You saved my life, Neo," and he's like, "You saved yourself." Right. And so that's just what I keep saying over and over and over again is, you saved yourself, you saved yourself. And even, my dad said, "Oh, you said aliens were going to come and save us." And I said, "No, I didn't. I said, save yourself. You know how to do it. If you check with your intuition and your higher self, you know how to save yourself." So those are some of the things that I'm doing when I'm around 3D people. I'm very kind and curious about where they are with things, on what they know, what they don't know. And if they start asking questions, I just allow them to start asking questions, and I give them a little bit at a time, so that I'm not overwhelming them with things that I know to be true. That's it. That's all we got. Any last comments, concerns? Anything else? I know, Colette, you've got to take off in a few minutes, so we're short and sweet tonight. We're going to try to get some interviews lined up for next Monday still. We're working on some people. If you'd like to be interviewed and you're watching this, definitely contact us. Just comment on the video and we'll get you set up for an interview. But for now, if you haven't subscribed or liked our channel, please do that. And make sure you hit the notification bell. And we'll see everyone on Friday.